Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest today. We have back for another encore appearance one of our favorite authors, Julien Ayotte. And Julien has got yet another book out. It is called Diamond and Pearls. Did you design it yourself?
With a little help from my family.
Yeah?
My family always is a major part of my book covers.
Yeah.
And I have a book designer in California that I've used for 5 out of 6 of my books, and I'm very, very excited about her.
Yeah.
She understands what I'm trying to convey, and it shows in the pictures. In this one, I wanted to show that there was a theft in a home of some very valuable pearls. And I said, why don't we show some sort of a jewelry box with pearls hanging out of them?
Yeah.
And maybe we can show a burglar or a thief standing behind in the shadows with a flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, the flashlight
Up here.
brings out the dot in diamond.
That's what I thought. Okay,
Yes.
I got that.
Yeah.
How long has this been out now, Julien?
That has been out for about, only about 3 weeks.
So this is your sixth
Sixth.
book. He's working on his 7th. The one where you were with us last time was Codename Lily.
Yes.
That was, oh my God, that's terrific. We've got all of his books right downstairs in the Upton Library. This is kind of a change, right, for you?
It is a change. It's not as gruesome as my other ones. It has a little more romance into it,
Yeah.
but it has a lot of cat and mouse is the way I'd like to use it, because there's a burglar out there, and then there's an investigator from an insurance company who gets hired by the family whose pearls were stolen.
Yeah.
And that insurance company is set to pay out a fee of $100,000 for the coverage that they have on these pearls, because they're an heirloom from Margarita Island, in Venezuela. And so insurance companies are not known to freely give out their money.
No.
So $100,000 worth of pearls
Yeah.
is certainly something that warrants investigation.
Yeah.
And the one of the main characters in the book, you see the title, is Drew Diamond.
Yeah.
And so there's Diamond and Pearls. Drew is very, very cautious at the way he approaches investigations. He's known to cover arson cases and burglaries. Those are his primary areas of expertise. He was a retired policeman for about 20 years before that.
Mm.
The irony of it all is that somehow he gets to meet a woman, a real estate agent, who helps him buy a condo.
Yeah, but she's beginning to wonder about her.
This is where the cat and mouse brings in.
Plot
There are
thickens.
many coincidences that occur throughout the book between his new love interest, or a real estate agent, and the burglar.
Yeah.
And first of all, obviously what I'm saying to you is that the burglar is a woman, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. So I bring a different approach to all my books. In Flower of Heaven and Dangerous Bloodlines, my first 2, I brought a priest who had an affair with a French woman in Paris, and the consequences 35 years later were twin sons that were given up for adoption. Now, something that people say, oh, that's not so, priests don't have kids, and I said, well,
Yeah.
welcome to the real world.
Exactly.
In my 3rd book, A Life Before, I had a young college student from New Jersey who had reincarnation. She had nightmares of a woman's murder that happened 20 years before, not knowing that she, in fact, was the reincarnated murdered woman.
Yep.
So that's different. In the 4th book, Disappearance, I wrote clearly about the Witness Protection Program,
Yep.
and about what people don't know about. And most people know nothing about the Witness Protection Program. So I thought it would be a great way for me to explain to them how the whole system works and what would happen if it goes wrong. You always hear, well, we'll put you in the witness protection
you'll be
program.
safe.
Oh, you'll be safe, right?
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Yeah.
But supposing you're not safe all
I
of a
know it.
sudden.
I know.
You've given up everything.
What do you think? Do you think it's safe? Or
Well, I think they brag about the fact that in the 45-year history of the witness protection program, that they have never lost a single person who stayed in the system.
stay put.
Yeah. Others who decided to move off on their own, obviously, they lose the protection of the agency. Not that they hover over you every single day to watch you, but they put you in a location and in a kind of an occupation that is totally different than what you're accustomed to, and therefore people who are seeking you for obviously bad reasons normally never find you.
That's the good news. Now this, from Margarita Island, Venezuela, to the great north woods of New Hampshire, goes quite a while, to the streets of Afghanistan, discover how they are all connected to each other by a stolen strand of pearls. And the back cover, it looks like, could be a little spooky, a log cabin in the woods at night.
It is in fact a log cabin in the woods at night. That's exactly right, and that is the great north woods of New Hampshire. Places I've never heard of, believe it or not. Did you know that there's a place called Pittsburgh, New Hampshire?
No.
It doesn't have an H at the end, so it's B-U-R-G.
Well, it's not near Plymouth, is it? The White Mountains?
Oh no, it's the furthest point north in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
It's funny because one of my readers said you made a mistake in your book because you said that the guy went from Portland, Maine,
Yeah.
to Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, and he took Route 47 north. And he says everybody knows that Maine is higher than New Hampshire. And I said, no. Portland is just over the line.
I know, I was born there.
Okay, Portland is just over the line, near Kennebunk and those places in Maine, whereas Pittsburgh and a small town called Clarksville, New Hampshire, are the northernmost parts of New Hampshire.
Near Colebrook by any chance?
Yes.
Okay, I know I went to college with a fellow who was from Colebrook. I remember that.
Well, in the book, you'll see that another love interest in there, her mother has a heart attack and she's taken to Colebrook Memorial Hospital. And then the guy that she is associated with has no clue how to get there.
Yeah.
And he takes directions from Portland to Colebrook, which is dead north. And so this guy sort of ate a little crow after,
I knew you were right.
after he said, oops, my mistake, I guess I should have looked at the map. So it is, in fact, dead north from Portland.
Julien, what made you think of all the things you could steal, pearls? What focused you on that?
Well, let me tell you first how the whole book began, because I watched the Today Show several occasions, and one day about a month ago they had an interview with Harlan Coben. Okay.
Oh, that author, he writes a lot of mysteries, kind of thriller.
Correct.
I've read his,
He's like David Baldacci kind of guy.
Yeah.
And they asked him where he gets his ideas from, and he says, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They come out of nowhere. And this came out of nowhere. I had a service guy for my oil heat come to the house because our furnace wasn't running properly. And in new homes today, there's a tendency from your furnace, they run a flue outside the side of your house instead of up a chimney.
Okay.
Okay, so my house has no chimney because the ductwork goes out to the side of my house through a regular duct, and it ventilates outside like a dryer vent.
Right.
Okay, and then most homes before that used to be up a chimney, so they would connect the furnace where the chimney was. So I said, what happens to most people is that when a husband is not home or he's preoccupied, a woman of the household hardly ever goes downstairs.
That's right, except to do the cat pans.
Yeah, but you would not go down there and stand over there and watch the service guy work on a furnace.
No.
Okay, so I mean...
It's gross in the basement.
So what happens if the furnace guy is down there all by himself and all he does, other than fix the furnace, is unlock a cellar window? Just unlock a
Why
cellar
would he
window.
do that?
Because someone's paying him to unlock a cellar
Oh.
window.
Okay. Yep. the word.
Okay? So if someone pays him to unlock a cellar window, all he does is gives the address and he say the rear window
Yeah.
is unlocked. And in his mailbox, a few days later, he might get an envelope with a couple $100 in it. So as far as he's concerned, I just unlocked the window and I don't have to worry
So you
about
got
it.
this idea by when the oil guy came
Yeah.
to your house.
Yeah.
Did you tell him this is what you were thinking?
No, I didn't tell him. He's probably paranoid. But
Yeah. It sounds almost like a mafia thing. You're going to do this and we'll give you this.
Yeah. Well, there is a mafia guy in this story,
Yeah.
which is totally different. And he happens to work for a jeweler. And a jeweler who is fencing stolen jewelry.
Yeah.
And he happens to be in Providence, where the mafia is known to collect protection money from various businesses.
Yep.
But the irony of this guy, he's dumb as nails, but he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be a thug. And he's 32 years old. He lives with his mother, and he says, you know, how do I get out of doing this? And that's how does one get out of the mob? So
Kinda
you know,
don't.
usually it's a one-way trip,
Yep.
and you never heard from him again. So he is asking for advice, and he enters the story along with Drew Diamond and along with a woman named Sydney Malone, who is in fact the real estate agent, and perhaps something else in the book.
Yes. Now, Julian, how can people get a hold of your book?
Well, Diamond and Pearls is basically available everywhere. It's in bookstores. It's at various libraries, including, as Jan said,
Right
the
here?
Upton Library
Yeah.
downstairs. It's on Amazon in both paperback copy and as an ebook for those people who have a Kindle, a Nook, an iPad, any kind of electronic device that you like to read books on. It's there. The Apple book as well. It's on the Nook. It's on Google. It's on Kobo. It's on Smashwords. It's everywhere. My book can be picked up anywhere. And of course, I sell them myself at
Definitely.
various book signings.
If somebody'd like to have you come and do a signing, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach me by email. It's the easiest way, really. jpahome@cox.net. That's simple. And I have already 24 book signings set up for this year.
Yeah?
And it's only the beginning of March.
Yeah.
Winters are very slow. February is normally very, very slow for authors because you're following the period after the holidays and people have bought their books for a while. So for me to come out with a new book at the beginning of February is unusual.
Now, you told me that Codename Lily sold how many, did you say?
Codename Lily has sold nearly 3,000 copies in the first year.
Now, this is interesting. I didn't meet you when you had Flower of Heaven. That was back in 1987.
Yeah.
But I think, well, Flower of Heaven 2012, you must have been on one of our first shows because
I
this
was.
was born in 2012. Were you over at the other building?
Yes, I was.
Okay, all right. Then The Dangerous Bloodlines in 2014, A Life Before, okay, that was 2016, Disappearance 2017, Codename Lily 2018, and now Diamond and Pearls. You've been following us right along,
Absolutely.
and you always let me know when you've got a new one.
I do, and what I admire most now is that I see you at the Association of Rhode Island Authors Expo in December,
Yeah.
and obviously you spot my little coming out soon sign, and it puts a bug in my ear to remember to sign up.
You were there this
to get
past
the show.
December? We couldn't make it, but you were there.
Yes, I was there, and you indicated in an email to me that you couldn't make it.
No, my husband was going to start chemotherapy.
Okay.
Was it as overwhelmingly crowded as it was when I went first time? It was. I'll never forget it.
Well, right now we're having it at the Rhodes on the Patuxent
That's where I
in
went.
Cranston, and it's hard to get to because it's right off a city street
Yeah.
in Cranston. You need a GPS or some very good directions to get to it. But my books are available. What's happened because of the success of Codename Lily is that all of my other books are now selling.
Yeah, people want to read the same.
They
the
said,
author.
the reviews. Now remember, this book has been out for 1 year, Codename Lily. I promote the book myself. I am still self-published.
Love it.
I do not have an agent.
Yeah.
I would like an agent to take my books into a film, into the movie industry, and I've made it quite clear to people that I would accept that. And I would allow them to make money or commission off the first 5, and even this one, 6 books if they want to. But my goal is to have 1 or 2 of these become a major film.
Yeah.
Flower of Heaven and Dangerous Bloodlines, the first 2, the original and the sequel, to me, probably an outstanding epic in the making. And this has been relayed to me by hundreds of my readers, hundreds of them who said I would, even Bill Reynolds, who's the journalist for the Providence Journal, says what a great movie this would make.
Have you been on any of the Providence stations? You mentioned down in Rhode Island.
I have been in Rhode Island, mostly some of the Woonsocket stations and the Newport stations.
Woonsocket.
Woonsocket,
Very
correct.
French.
Yes, we used to get that quite a bit. But radio stations are not often greeting authors. I have more success on television stations, and so I will probably be back at the media center in Cape Cod and Yarmouth.
You know, besides all of his great books, Julien was a high school teacher in Bellingham. Am I correct? What did you teach?
I was chairman of the business department back in the late 60s, from 1965 to 1974. And that was when the high school was at the front of Route 126, which is now the junior high school. They since have built a new high school. Yeah, I started off as a high school teacher, and then
was it math, social studies? What did you teach?
I was a chairman of the
business
department.
Yeah. Was it college? No, it was in high school. They're already studying business?
Oh, sure. They have accounting courses and finance courses.
When was this?
This is 1964 through 75.
I was little, but I'm thinking when we hit the 70s, I was never offered anything in college to do with business that I know of.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it was, but there are a lot of art and phys ed majors up at Plymouth. I know.
There are several. Now they offer insurance courses. Of course, they still do stenography, but less and less because it's not the way with all the computers. But
1969, a Harvard Business School Management Development Program. You have had such a resume. I think you've told us a lot, but how did you switch gears into writing books?
Haven't a clue. I do not have a clue. My wife says, "Who the heck are you?" I don't know who you are. Where does this come from? And I tell her, I don't know. It's something apparently that's been in me for a long, long time, and it's finally coming out, and I can't stop.
You can't stop. You are addicted.
I can't stop. I finish a book. I sell this book at our church February 15th, after the masses.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've sold it at 4 different masses.
Are they allow you to sell books in church?
After the mass.
You can set up there and
yes, of course. My books, you have to remember, my books have no explicit sex.
Yep.
They have no extreme violence, and they have no foul language. I just don't see the point. If you need that in your book to sell, well, okay, that's you. But I feel that my stories are good enough without using any of that.
Oh, definitely. You also wrote, and I hadn't met you yet, you hadn't been on the show, with Dr. Harms, entitled Wealth Building for Professionals.
Yeah, a financial planning book. That was from my corporate experience. I was a controller, assistant controller and assistant treasurer of Textron in Providence, a major conglomerate. So I had a extensive background in the business world.
You do, a law firm. You were one in Worcester and Providence.
Yes.
All the things that you were capable of, you're multi-talented. You're not just a one-trick pony. You've been doing different things.
And I think that's helped me in my writing career. It's given me a lot of different things to write about from some of the experiences and the places that I've been to. Most of my books, almost all of them, include places around the world that I've been to with my wife.
You've been to Belgium, I know.
Yeah, well, Belgium, we were supposed to go in October of this year for a remembrance union for Codename Lily, but we had some illness problems that precluded us from going. So we may think about going. If this book takes off even more than it's taken off now, I think we'll probably try to do it this year.
Talking with Julien Ayotte, and his latest book is Diamond and Pearls, a nice mystery. How again can they get your book?
Well, my book is clearly available from me, which means if you go on my website, www.julienAyotte, JulienAyotte.com, all the instructions and everything you want to know about all 6 of my books are there. There's a full description of every book. There's a link as to where to buy it if you want to buy it online as an ebook. If you want to buy it online as a paperback, you can do so for perhaps a little bit less than buying it from me.
Right.
But if you buy it from me, you'll get a signed copy.
Sure.
And I made a lot
Is
of
it
you.
Barnes and Noble and Tapnuck at all by any chance? Is it?
Yes.
It is.
Oh yes.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
How did you get it? I find more of my self-publishing authors are saying I can't get in there because I didn't choose even a little mom and pop type of publishing company for the back of the supply. How did you manage that?
Well, I go to Tatnick.
Yeah, me too.
I go to Tatnick to sell books.
Yeah.
I appear there, and they send me a notice every year that we heard you had a new book. Are you willing to come?
Yeah.
And I went. I went again last year, and I go every year. And Barnes and Noble is not a great spot any longer for authors to go sell books at.
Yeah.
The problem you have at a bookstore sometimes is that when people come in, they have a particular reason why they're going there. Either they're looking for a specific book or some specific object that they know Barnes and Noble or Tatnick might be selling.
Unless you're like me and you just love to browse for a couple hours.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah.
But when they see an author there, sometimes it can be intimidating. They feel obligated to they feel awkward walking by an author and not stopping.
I understand that.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I sit there and I see this in their faces where they're almost trying to avoid eye contact with me, and it's like I'm going to bite, and it's not that way at all. But I feel for them when I have a scheduled book signing at a place where everybody knows it's a book signing.
Yeah.
Very different. People are coming there because they want to see my books and they want me to give them or sell them a signed copy. So I'm always willing, obviously, to talk to. I talk to people anytime. And what's happening now, if I can just digress for a minute, is and just go back a little bit to Codename Lily. Although Diamond and Pearls, I think will make its own mark because it's very different. I have scheduled talks. Last May was the featured speaker at the Air Force Evasion and Escape Society in Niagara Falls, New York.
And they wanted you to go up there?
They wanted me. I was the featured speaker because I wrote a book about an escape network,
Yeah.
and this organization is the children of escaped
Oh,
airmen
my God.
during World War II.
Wow.
And so their fathers owe their lives a great deal to some of these escape networks.
Did they recognize the name Lily?
Oh, of course,
Wow.
of course. And they also recognize the Comet Line, which is the escape network that she had.
Yeah.
As a result of that, I will be in July of this summer, at the Wright Museum of World War II in Wolfboro, New Hampshire,
Good.
to give an hour discussion in front of 200 people.
Regarding his other book, A Code Named Lily, right?
Codename Lily, but the guy insisted when he saw that I came
Bring
out
your
with my
new
new
book.
one, he says, please bring your new book up as well. As a matter of fact, he says, bring all your books up.
Bring them all.
Because he said, we'll set you up and everything. And I have a brochure that I left downstairs. I think I sent you one with the book.
Mhm.
It has all of my books in there. It has all my contact information in there as
Yeah.
well. So if you happen to go to a book signing somewhere and I'm there,
Say
and
hi.
even if you're not ready to buy a book from me, pick up a brochure because it has all 6 books listed.
You can, down on the bulletin board, I tell you about 5 minutes left. I tell all of our authors and anybody who's on, businesses, whatever, don't be shy about using the bulletin boards in the lobby of the Upton Library. Believe me, if you look at them, I can always spot all the many, many people that have been on the show. It's a great place. I have to go right by it myself. We're talking with Julien Ayotte, and he's written yet another book. This one is a mystery. A string of burglaries puzzles the local police. Drew Diamond is a retired detective. He follows clues leading up to the identity of the intruder, but what he uncovers places him in a dilemma. Could Sidney Malone, his new love interest, a real estate agent she plays by day, could she be more than that? And can a lowly mobster finally escape his life of petty crime? This book takes you from Venezuela to the woods of New Hampshire and the streets of Afghanistan. That's an awful lot. And this is a good size, too. Before we close, one more time, how can they get your book?
Well, several ways. You can send me an email at jpahome@cox.net, and I'll certainly answer any question you have. If you want specific instructions on mailing some, I've had high school classes who now buy a whole bunch of copies of my book. There was a school in Lakeville called the Apponequet High School, which ordered all 6 of my books to put in their library, and I will be at a book signing there on April 4th.
That's coming up?
That's coming up. That's not that far away.
Are you going to be going up to the Danversport Expo for authors?
I probably will.
Okay.
I have not been there for several years
Yeah.
because it's a long
Same
drive.
here. It is a long
Yeah,
drive.
It's a long drive. But that's one way to reach me by email. The second way is obviously by going onto my network, and that's www.julianayotte.com. And if you spell it, it's JulienAyotte.com.
Now, you're working, I don't dare, you're working on another one and you just got this out?
I am.
Mystery?
Yes.
Good.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about doing another World War II heroine type thing, and I think it's too soon
Yeah.
after I did Codename Lily, and that one is just taking off now, really taking off.
Well, I wish you luck. You're going to go up to, where are you going, New York State? Where is it going? You're going to be going for the Air Force?
Oh no, I was in Niagara Falls. This one is Wolfboro,
New
New
Hampshire.
Hampshire, near Lake Winnipesaukee.
And you're going to be there when now?
July 21st.
July 21st.
At the Wright Museum of World War II. It's a
WR,
wonderful
okay.
vacation spot for people who go up there for the week.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pretty cool. And you get to meet Julien, too. You're going to be next December? You're going to be over at the...
Oh yeah, I have, as I mentioned, I already have 24 different events that I'm appearing in,
You're doing great.
and
You're doing really good.
and I haven't, that doesn't count any possible new ones that
Yeah.
may come along.
Yeah.
Um,
You'll be good.
it's been a great ride.
What do your kids think of you? Did they like your books?
My kids are very proud
Oh, yeah.
of Dad, and I'm tickled pink by that. They are my inspiration, and my oldest daughter says that I'm her inspiration. So
How old are your kids? 20s, 30s?
oh no, oh my gosh, my youngest is going to be 49.
Okay.
My son is this is a tough quiz now. My son will be 56.
I think he's a baby boomer.
And no, my son will be 54.
Okay.
My daughter will be 56.
Okay.
My oldest daughter.
Yeah.
So those are 3. I have 2 daughters and a son. And
Is that it? You guys done?
no,
Really? Oh, come on.
what I find as a self-published author, which is really it's been great, but it's increasingly more difficult to try to get an agent because I'm 78 years old. And
You're just a kid.
I know, I realize that, but I think I am, and I think I've got many more. I promised my readers 10 books in 10 years.
Yeah.
I was just a hair behind. I've got 6 books out in less than 7 years.
What month in the year you were born? What month?
December.
Paul is, you guys are the same age. His is September. Our cameraman is, his is the same year in September. So you guys, oh my God, wow. That's cool. Hey, Julien will be back. He's going to let me know when the next one comes out. Check downstairs in our library. Also try to get him on his site. And if you want him to come do a speech, a presentation, a signing, don't be shy. He will come, right?
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Julien. We'll see him again soon.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you
we'll
so
see you
much.
next time.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems. Moving through the cloud